I love a room full of people having a good time. That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
My job is to try and create a room full of people having a good time. This is a grown-up version of what I did with Café Bohan. It's great fun to be able to rethink something, think, well, can we do that differently? Can we possibly do it better?
Today we are privileged to be at St Clement, the newest venture of Soho House founder Nick Jones. Overlooking the Thames and within the recently developed 180 quarter just off the Strand, the St Clement Hotel has quickly become one of London's most talked about openings. The hotel features a vibrant new restaurant, Café Clement, and bar Bobbi's, all situated alongside his popular corner shop concept, which Nick opened last year. Café Clement, which sits at the heart of it all, is led by the exceptionally talented Executive Chef Danny Bohan. Danny was also the former head chef of the River Cafe. Together, Danny and Nick are the dream team behind London's latest dining experience. Nick Jones and Danny Bohan, it is a pleasure to be with you here at St Clement. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much, and that was very flattering. I'm
well deserved to both of you. I appreciate your time today because it's hectic downstairs. Café Clement is on fire, not on fire, but it's buzzing right now. Congratulations on this amazing new precinct. It is a precinct because we're in this hotel with many apartments and lofts. And then you've got, for example, a huge pool coming in and restaurant and Bobbi's bar. Can you tell us a bit about the project here?
Well, it's the conclusion of the 180 quarter from Mark Wadler, who's really the brainchild behind this. Purchased the 180, the Strand, 10 years ago and has spent 10 years redeveloping that and turning that into a sort of creative hub of London. It's incredibly interesting in there, the amount of people who work there, the amount of people who hang out there, there's studios there, there's Soho House there. And this was always happening on in the background. There's a lot of things happening in this area, and you've got to think that this was the original part of London. This is where London started. And in a way, it's sort of been forgotten about while other places have had their moment. But this area is really having a moment now where people are suddenly realizing it is a really gorgeous part of London. It's incredibly central. And I think now the addition of the 180, the Thames, which is where we're sitting in now, which has 150 apartments. It's got the St Clement Hotel, which we're talking about right now. There's a 25,000 square foot health club opening here in the autumn. So this is really a vibrant part of London.
Where did the name St Clement come from?
We're in the area of St Clement because there's the churches of St Clement. The aim of St Clement was here back in the 13th century. So it's very Clementy round here. There's an old English nursery rhyme, the bells of St Clement, oranges and lemons. So our smell is all about oranges and lemons. Whenever I look for a name of something, I don't look far. I just look around. Like Soho, it was like a house in Soho. So here, St Clement, and what I love trying to do and what Danny wants to do is we want to undersell and over-deliver. And it is a cafe. It's a cafe which is open from 7 a.m. to 11 at night. It's affordable. We want people to pop in. We want loads of people who go to the corner shop to come into Café Clement. Why not? And have a salad at lunch. Or no one's there monitoring what people eat. Or you're not having 3 courses. We don't want you back.
Some restaurants do have, a lot of restaurants do have that rule, don't they? You have to have 3 courses or...
Yeah, just walk out.
Yeah, just
that happened a couple of times in Paris when we were together. We're like, do you know what? We're off.
I think look, it's customer led. I think if you want to get dressed up and have a birthday party in Café Clement, that's great. Yeah. But if you also want to come in and just have a bowl of Danny's delicious ravioli and a glass of wine, sitting at the bar in a pair of shorts, that's fine as well.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. I've come quite often, which I love to the corner shop. And I think that seemed like one of the first stages of this precinct. The food there, it's just like everything. I mean, your staff took me through. I'm obsessed with the coconut water. The eye to detail starting there alone is incredible. It's honestly one of my favourite places in London, and I really ask you to build more around London because it's like you've suddenly stepped into New York, the atmosphere there.
That was intention. It was, I suppose, New York, California, and whenever I go in there, I am surprised by how successful it's been because we sort of thought no one really was down at this part of the area, and when you're in there, you just get in a good mood. I don't know what, you can be in a bit of a grumpy mood, and as soon as you walk into the corner shop, whether it the people who work there, the other customers, customers, the music playing, the vibrant colours everywhere. It just puts you in a good mood. And I think people do travel quite a long way to come to the corner shop.
It's always busy in there.
And I love also how now you've got the awnings on the street, the yellow, the green and the red. It really feels like if you're staying here in the hotel, you don't have to go far because you'll have the pool, you'll have the rest, Café Clement, you'll have the corner shop. It's like everything.
I mean, that was the whole idea at the beginning. We wanted to create a whole community on the ground floor so that we pull people in.
It feels very lucky to be here today because it's not actually open to the world yet.
Well, no, the hotel doesn't open. It's beginning to softly open next week, and then it opens properly in September. It's great fun to be able to rethink something and think, well, can we do that differently? Can we possibly do it better? Can we do all the layers and layers of stuff which have been put into hotels and restaurants, and can we start with a blank piece of paper and actually go, well, if we were doing this today with no outside influence, how could we do it? How could we make the hotel experience very different from other hotels?
Actually, one of the interesting things that Jeremy King also said to us when we interviewed him recently, what advice would you have people? And he said, stay independent, because then you've got the freedom to make decisions, to be creative.
We just talk about the customer. We'd talk a lot about Café Clement, I'm sure, but the customer coming to the hotel is, if you tried to get rid of check-in at the Four Seasons, it would be like, they just wouldn't be able to get their head around them. That's no disrespect to the Four Seasons. They're just a very big machine now. And trying to get big machines to go left or right is really difficult. I sort of knew it when I was running Soho House. And I think with something like St. Clement, we can decide all sorts of things, because so many layers of things have been put in to make it more convenient for the hotel to run and less convenient for the customer to be able to stay in that hotel.
What did you think when you started it? And same with Café Clement, the dining experience and the whole precinct. Were you thinking, okay, London's missing this?
Well, I love all day. I love something which opens in the morning and finishes late at night. And the customer sort of determines what they do when they go into the space. And I first did it with Café Bohem like 35 years ago, where it opened at 8 in the morning and closed at 3 in the morning. And people, I didn't mind if they came just for a cup of coffee or a beer or a full meal. I mean, what I wanted was it to be full and buzzy all the time. And as soon as it's full and buzzy, people start eating more and drinking more. In a way, this is a grown-up version of what I did with Café Bohem, obviously with Danny's food. And Danny, to me, is like one of the most talented chefs out there in London at the moment. You give him a fantastic ingredient and give him a pan, and it's just he's away. I don't think there's many people who can touch him with that. So simplicity was a big thing that I love and Danny loves. Yeah. So we're always thinking exactly the same on the food.
So you'd known each other for a while. Danny had been at the River Cafe for 20 years.
20 years, and I worked with Nick's son there when he was 18.
Good apprenticeship.
And Gus, and we all became friends, and we always spoke. The three of us, remember when we used to go out, we used to say, oh, if we ever do something, we should do something together.
Really?
Yeah, and then what? And then you've decided to do this, and then Gus approached me, and now we're all on this project together.
And it's really good. I mean, this is Danny's restaurant, Café Clement.
How would you describe the food at Café Clement? What type of food would you say it is?
Okay, so it's the type of food that I've learned over the past 20 years of cooking, 25 years, 30 years, isn't it? Started at the Savoy Hotel. Nearby, just there.
It's full circle.
There you go, full circle, like a salmon. It's funny because I went for an apprenticeship there and I got it, and Nick went
for an apprenticeship and didn't get it.
Didn't get it.
chefing.
I sort of absolutely.
Were you ever a chef?
Well, I was a chef for a year.
Really?
But I became an apprentice at Trust House Forte, which was not the Savoy, because they didn't give me a job.
You didn't chop the onions.
They didn't give me a job.
Yeah.
But no, I was a year in the kitchen. I loved it.
Mm.
And then I went to Rowley, Kingston Place, did 4 years there, and I learned a lot from him. He was my chef. He taught me groundwork. And then I always loved the River Cafe and what Rose and Ruthie did. What they did is within the culture of food within this country.
Completely
and
new.
I joked with Rowley, oh, can I go to the River Cafe? And he knew Rose really well, so I went. And then I just stayed. Rowley always said I was on loan, but I never left, and I loved it. And Ruthie's a very close friend of mine now,
It's
and
wonderful.
We've gone through a lot together, and I like to say that it's kind of a combination of everything I kind of learnt through Rose and Ruthie. Like it's 3 R's.
Yeah.
Like it's everything there. I can't, it's definitely heavily based in Italian cookery, but there's a lot of French influence there from being at the Savoy and with Rowley, who trained under the Roux brothers. Provençal cookery, Ligurian cookery is all very similar. It's all very farmhouse, peasant food. Can you say peasant?
Yes, I think you can.
You can't say poor
Peasant
pig.
food at a cost.
Peasant food, yeah, of course. So it's, it's that kind of simplicity.
Can you tell us about the menu, Danny, Café Clement? How would you describe it?
It's approachable for everyone. Like I don't want anything pretentious on there, or let the ingredients speak for themselves. So don't muck around with anything. At the moment, we're doing these incredible Vesuvio's tomatoes, just with anchovies, capers, and olives. Biggest seller. And then because in this heat, I've put a tomato cucumber soup on, not gazpacho. It's more like a Tuscan style soup. Sold out.
Really?
So I think that's what people want to eat now. I think people have overcomplicated food in the past few years, which is great. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying it's strip it back. So our menu we've created together, it's sort of approachable for everyone. You come in and have a souffle and a duck, you can, but you can come and have a plate of carpaccio and a simple salad.
And what we didn't want to do is, we didn't want to do this restaurant where the server gives you the menu and go, well, right, the concept here is you got to choose some starters which you can all share and do this. And all we want to do is give the customer the menu. You sort of know how a menu works. I'm sure you'll tell me if you have an allergy, so I'm not going to ask. I go on a flight up to Glasgow, for instance, and there's so many new announcements being put on. The whole flight is announcements. And has someone ever thought of editing them down and thinking, well, what are the useful ones that you have to do?
I had a few things I'd love to talk about from the menu from last week. The mint ice cream tastes so much like mint. It makes me think that every other mint ice cream I've had before is a lie and didn't have mint in it, because yours actually tastes like actual mint.
And it's retro because mint choc chip, but done.
Is it? You said mint. What was the key that you have in it that makes it so mint?
We just make a mint oil, simple mint infused. It's just very, very
actual
simple.
mint in it.
It's actual mint in it.
Yeah.
Not synthetic. But I think everyone remembers from childhood that flavour, don't they?
Yes. I also had the lobster omelette, which was so amazing. It felt like it was floating.
The l'omelette, as we call it now.
Felt like it was floating on the plate. I don't know how you do it.
So nice and fluffy.
Yeah, it's just light.
We don't have like a big batch of eggs all whisked up together, so we have them individual. So it's 2 eggs and 1 yolk, and we kind of break them gently, and then put them in the pan, and then the lobster, and then put it under the grill, and they kind of puff up a bit. I think it's a bit flat otherwise. Yeah, it's kind of lighter.
What are some of the other dishes you'd say the key dishes?
Our duck dish that we've played around with. Yep. We're both obsessed with duck, favourite meat.
Do you both get involved in the dishes?
It's Danny's the final person on the menu, but him and I, we agreed.
Do you spend some time together? You're saying like travelling in Italy and things like that you source some ideas together?
I started the project 2 years ago, and we went to Paris, went to New York. We've
been to California.
So we've kind of...
We like a little trip.
A little trip.
We like a little trip.
But getting to know each other, like we've had the privilege of the past 2 years getting to know each other properly before starting Café Clement.
Can you imagine opening a restaurant now and then suddenly realising the food's not right? And restaurants do that, and they might have done. I mean, it's happened to me on numerous occasions, and to be able to come in and just know that I don't have to worry about the kitchen, because every plate of food which comes out is just fantastic and delicious.
And the scallop dish we've got on, which I put on yesterday, I'd thought we need to use we got a big griddle there, and I'm like, what can we do now? Rowley scallops. So Rowley Lee, who I used to work with at Kensington Place, he did scallops with pea pure and mint vinaigrette. It would be lovely to bring something like that back as homage. Following day, you come to me, go like, we need to get scallops on, Dan. And I'm like,
you're in sync.
And we were like, what about Rowley scallops? I'm like, yeah. And it's great that we
call it Rowley scallops.
And we've got his Rowley scallops on the actual menu now.
I love the fit outfit, and I was hearing that when I came last week, I was asking about the flooring, and I hear that the inspiration came from you seeing it overseas. Was it in Italy or in a palazzo?
Well, I think that's where originally it came from, but the shape is like the river, because the river, we're on the bend of the river, so we call it the river floor.
Obviously this is very sunlit, and so is Café Clement, but what's your view generally on lighting?
I'm quite obsessed about lighting. I don't think it's complicated. I don't really like central lighting, and I like low-level lighting, and I just like a really good dimmer. That's all I want.
Dimmer. Yes.
And
a warm light.
And a warm light. You don't never want a white light.
What is it that you want people of London and from around the world, when they walk into St Clement and to Café Clement, what do you want people to feel when they walk in?
I want them to feel very comfortable. I want them to feel, yes, this feels like I'm in the right place. And they would look around and they go, yes, I want to eat here. I want to come back here. I want to try it. I don't want
them to feel intimidated.
Yeah, I don't want them to feel intimidated. I want them to be greeted incredibly friendly. I care deeply about the customer and we want them to be regular. We want people to use this as their new address in London.
You know, because our style of service is, it's very professional, but it's kind of relaxed in a way that you're left alone to enjoy your experience.
I'd heard that you meet with all the staff. What do you look for when you're meeting with them? What's the sort of the Nick Jones test?
It's personality, isn't it? I mean, you can teach most people other things, can't you? But it's what they're like as people, especially if they're customer facing. They got a confidence about them and a certain smile about them. In our business, you've only really got 2 or 3 minutes to get to know the person who's either checking you in or showing you to your room, or the person who's serving you in the restaurant. So you need to judge quickly. It isn't like, oh, they're really nice once you get to know them. You haven't got time to get to know them.
If you were to give a staff briefing to your staff, what are the core principles that you say to them? You know, this is how I want the customer treated. This is the kind of service. This is the energy we want in the room.
I'm always about underselling and over-delivering. I hate being sold at, and I think our customer is too bright. They know what's good. They know what's bad. You never have to tell them something's delicious or that's brilliant or whatever. So what I'm telling them all the time, I want them to be passionate. When they're up on the floor, they're on the stage and they're there to perform, but in a very unperformative way. And I want them to be friendly. I want them to have a can-do attitude. I want them saying yes all the time, as long as it's legal and moral and
flexible
and flexible and actually just go, well, yeah, I'll sort that out. And then I want people to go, I don't know, I'm going to sort that out. But then use their initiative to go and talk to some people and then sort it out. Yeah. Never go no. Because
I mean, that's what I've learned from you for the past couple of years. You figure it out. You can figure it out. But before, I would have run around doing it for them. And I'm like, no. And like, that's what I've learned from Nick. It's just like, you've got to push the people forward.
And then you get more leaders from it.
You get more leaders from it.
I mean, obviously, it's been a huge few weeks. You've opened the restaurant for the first time. When you walk into a busy Café Clement and it's packed and there's people everywhere, where are your eyes and when you first walk in, what are you focused on?
I love a room full of people having a good time. So first of all, that makes me feel good.
It's a feeling, isn't it?
That's my job, is to try and create a room full of people having a good time. And you can immediately tell if they're having a good time or whether the whole thing's a bit shaky. You can just tell by people's reaction. There's nothing worse than when you're eating, the server comes out, is everything all right? I mean, what? You body language tells you if everything's all right, because you can see people laughing, smiling. If they're eating something and they want to, it's so delicious, they often get someone else to taste it. And so you don't need to do that. You don't want to spend too long at a table. They've come to be out with their friends.
I used to have a thing when I would walk into our pubs, for example, I'd go straight to the kitchen, to the pass, because it's, this is a pub that's packed, 500 people. I'd see the queue outside and it's packed. But my thing always was I'd go straight to the kitchen, to the pass and check how many dockets were up, just to see where we were on the food and whether it was out quick enough. And so I'm always curious, like, what do you...
I hate clutter, so I'm constantly, especially because we're an open kitchen, like constantly trying to make sure people are keeping their sections tidy. Trying to keep it calmer in there, because it can get quite... It's just trying to keep the level down, because we've got a calmer kitchen. There's no shouting. We're not saying soft kitchen, but
you're in the thick of the action.
We're in the thick of it, and we can't look like we're losing our shit. Yeah. Sorry, you can't look like that, and I don't think we are.
And whenever I come in, there's always people smiling, and sure, it gets a bit wobbly at times, but the last thing you want to do is, when it gets a bit wobbly, panic. You got to try and unwobble it.
Yeah.
Are there going to be more Café Clements, do you think?
I mean...
At the moment, we're focusing on this.
Absolutely not at the moment. I mean, Danny and I might do something else, but I think there's going to be only one Café Clement, and I think it's this. And, I've done all that. Multiple stuff. And people ask, are there going to be more corner shops? And I'm going, of quite like just one.
Oh, I'd like more.
I mean, there's nothing like it in the country, is there? Corner shop,
There
there's
really
nothing
isn't.
like
And
that
I'm really amazed that
in
no
any
one's
way.
ever really made use of the Thames like this before. Like we see these views today here.
Yeah.
And it's actually mind-blowing. I've not seen all these, I've been in London, a view like
We
this
live
before.
on the river and it never gets used. It just kind of gets forgotten about, doesn't it?
Can I ask also about Bobbi's Bar, which we were very fortunate to have a little sneak into last week. But how would you describe Bobbi's Bar? Because that feels like it's going to be one of the hardest places to get into in town, because it's like, it's a full fun night out, ready to go, isn't it?
It's yeah, you lose hours in Bobbi's Bar.
Yeah, we have.
We've tested it.
We're testing it, yeah.
I just wanted it to feel like someone's drawing room at home. And Bobbi being this sort of imaginary, in fact, Bobbi was my dad's dog, in fact, but is also this imaginary person who is incredibly social, and everyone always wanted to go back to Bobbi's. And Bobbi would always mix great drinks, play great music, and it always turned into a bit of a party. So the feel down there is not a hotel bar, it's more someone's apartment who then turned a chest of drawers into a bar. So it's all a bit spontaneous and a bit accidental.
And you've got someone hosting it and entertaining every
There's
night.
Bobbi on every night.
Yeah.
There's someone who's on the piano every night. There's a vinyl DJ on every night who only can play Bobbi's bangers. So it's fun.
These bangers.
Obviously, the restaurant industry, it's quite challenging for a lot of people at the moment. What advice would you give to someone if they were starting up a restaurant now? Or what is the best advice given to you over the years?
I've been lucky. I've had lots of great advice. But I think the greatest advice is just really focus on your product. And as Danny was saying earlier, there's still people are eating out all the time. And I think, yes, it is challenging out there. But that doesn't mean you can't be a success. It doesn't mean that you can't have a full bustling restaurant. So I would encourage anyone, because London is such a great city, to go and open something. You don't need lots of money. You probably just need a 6-burner and some tables and a bit of talent, and then people will come.
Danny?
Ditto.
What he said. Well, thank you so much for your time, Nick Jones and Danny Bohan. Thank you so much for having us here, and it was a privilege to be here in this amazing space before the rest of the world gets to see it.